Do, do,
I'm
do, do.
being live streamed. That's okay.
All right. Giggity.
Chick, chick, chick. Uh, Watched The Silence of the Lambs again last night.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
dude. I watched a spooky show last night. I watched older one, 2010, I think. It was called Case 39. Wasn't bad.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it was like I don't know. I always think it's good when they have kids that are like super evil.
Yep.
And there was one scene in there, dude, totally gave me the willies. Bradley Cooper killed himself, and it was gave me the creeps, bro.
Creeps, the bleeps, and the weeps. The what, and the what?
And for being how old it was, it looked pretty creepy, like all the CG that they had going on.
Cool. I'd let my daughter know she's getting into all that horror stuff.
Nice, yeah. Case 39. It was an old one. It was on Netflix, maybe.
Okay.
Dude, you know what? I love. I'm
Oh.
a cheap bastard, so I love saving money.
Hmm?
Dude, get this. So Hulu sent out a thing. They're gonna raise their rates by $1, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, come on, And so I logged in, look at my account, and I saw that they had a student discount. And literally, it was like student discount for $1.99 a month, like $1.99. I'm like, what? And so I'm like reading. It's like submit your school email address, whatever. And then the last one was a paid tuition statement with your class and college on it.
Mhm.
And so that class I just took, where I took the IT certification,
Yep.
I just sent them that email, and they're like, "Congratulations, you qualified." So now I'm getting Hulu for $2.
Nice.
Woohoo! That's a win for me, brah.
Very good. Congratulations.
Yeah. Hey, Mudcat's in. Good evening.
Hello, Tommy.
All right, let's get rolling. Nice. Welcome to episode 61 of the Thrash Report. This is for September 7th, 2021. My name is Chris. This is your weekly music commentary podcast where we'll discuss all things metal and heavy music. Joining me across the river in the great state of Wisconsin, my buddy and fellow concert goer, Jim Osborne. Jim, what's going on, man?
This is a journey into sound. I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
I can
Good.
see
We got, we made it to Labor Day, and
Yep.
this is kind of the unofficial launch of fall, even though it was absolutely beautiful today. Nice and warm, sunny. Yeah, it's kind of a weird feeling. Like, first of all, I love fall. I love like cool,
too.
crisp fall leaves, the whole deal. But and it just brings back memories of like, kids going back to school and all this stuff. It's kind of a fun time. Yeah, so it's although locally again, there's like, I don't know, they're shutting down districts already because of COVID. It's crazy. So some schools have been in session for like a week, and they've already had like, I don't know how many positive cases already from the kids being tested. It's sad. I don't know.
Yep. Will it ever end?
Are your kids physically in class now? Or are they?
Yep, they are. So
Cool.
everything's basically back to normal, but they're wearing masks.
Yep.
So, which, I'm certain they would take masks over having to sit at home and do school again. So,
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. One thing I did over the weekend is I went to the Van Gogh immersive art exhibit experience thing. If
Yeah,
anyone
so
has seen that.
I saw you posted a couple of pics of it.
Yeah, man, it's cool. Like, I mean, you're the technology, like I don't know how they're getting all of the projectors to project, basically, motion graphics, animation of
Mhm.
all of Vincent Van Gogh's artwork on the floor and all the walls, but it's all seamless, right? Like you can't tell where one ends and where one begins and stuff. It's pretty badass. And all the time thinking like all the other ways we could use this. Like, it'd
Yeah.
be cool. Like as a comic book nerd, I'm like, oh, motion comics would be freaking badass. Dude, seeing like Through the Never, like seeing Metallica like live in that experience would be freaking amazing, like all around you. Anyway.
Cool. I'd give my ear to go to
Oh, hello.
that. I wouldn't.
Awesome. Yeah, did you have a good Labor Day weekend?
I did. I was pretty laid back. I didn't do a whole lot on Saturday and Sunday. And yesterday I got to do whatever I wanted to do because it was my birthday.
What?
Hmm.
Dude, how did I not remember that?
Because I blocked you on social.
It's all right.
So I watched a movie from when I was a kid. I enjoyed it back then. Now, not so much. Mars Attacks. Yeah. So I did enjoy it this time. And then my daughter's a huge Die Hard fan, and she's only seen the first one. So
Oh, nice.
we watched Die Hard with a Vengeance. And then last night, Silence of the Lambs, like I mentioned earlier before we
Nice.
started here. And she was a little creeped out, but said the more she thought about it today, the more she liked it. So we're going to have to go ahead and watch the rest of them. So,
Cool.
and I got full of pizza because that's what I do.
Nice. And your go-to pizza topping is?
The gym special is a pepperoni, green olive, and Italian sausage.
That sounds
Sometimes with
beautiful.
bacon.
Sounds glorious. Dude, green
Mhm.
olives, salty goodness. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
I used to make green olive sandwiches where just bread, butter, and olives.
That sounds wonderful.
I love those little bastards.
Nice.
Yeah.
We got some headlines we're gonna jump into. Um, Again, it seems like every week we have some sort of Metallica news.
Of course.
We'll talk about that, and then we're gonna actually go. We're gonna go back to 1984 for our back in the day. Then we also have a today in the day, a couple things that we're both going to talk about. So yeah, exciting episode today. Let's go ahead and get
Yeah.
rolling in the headlines. Go.
Yeah. I don't know that we talked about this before, and I can't believe that we haven't, but our friend Jose Morales from Agnoxia announced a few weeks ago that Bonded by Blood is back.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yes. So when obviously you can go check out his episode when he was on a few months ago, like February, March, something like that. And he was talking about what happened with Bonded by Blood, and they are back now. So looking forward to that. And as he also stated there, he posted the other day, and to quote him, he says, "Lots of new music coming from the Morales camp. 3 different vocal approaches can be difficult, but I'm having tons of fun. I love it." So that, of course, is Agnoxia, Macrocosm, and Bonded by Blood. So I believe he said that Bonded by Blood will have something out this year yet.
Really?
Don't quote me on that. Quote Chris on that.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
looking
excited,
forward to
dude.
that.
No, I think it's great. Friend of the show. Can't wait to hear it.
Yep. Yeah, and if you go way back in our episodes, we talked about, I believe it was Tom Araya having the voice of a narrator for like a nature show or something. And
That's
I
right.
think we've talked about Hetfield when he got in trouble for, not really trouble, but some people didn't like the fact that he was narrating like a hunting show or something on some nature channel. But
Yep. And then we also talked about John Bush doing Burger King commercials.
yeah, yep. Yeah, so another person has stepped into that role, and that is Mr. Chuck Billy from Testament. And he's doing additional voices in the latest episode of What If? What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? So it's like a Marvel thing. You probably know more about that than I do. I think it's basically they're taking like old Marvel episodes or storylines or something, and they're changing one little fact
Yep,
to
yep,
see.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it looks really cool. It's on my list of stuff to watch. I know I was super excited following up until its launch. Me and a couple other buddies. I know I got a buddy based in Chicago that's a huge comic nerd, and he's been posting about it too, and says it's having a lot of fun watching it. So, yeah, looking forward to it. It's an animated show that, yeah, they're changing one plot line. It's one of those things where you look at, uh, again, not to get deep, but the multiverse.
Mhm.
Or if you have just one change where you can like spin off everything and yeah, it changes the entire storyline. So it's interesting. I mean, that's where you get Marvel Zombies too, which that's a whole another plot line. They have a line of comic too where
Sure.
yeah, it's like Captain America and stuff are zombies, which are kind of
Interesting.
um yeah, that's awesome. And we can't forget yeah, I'm looking forward to it and I'll see if I can pick them out without knowing. I know one thing that we always haven't really talked about too is D. Snyder does tons of voiceovers. Like he's in
Okay.
tons of animated shows and shows on Cartoon Network and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of crazy these people that continue on doing a lot of voiceover work.
Yeah, very cool. I didn't intend to, but I have another kind of throwback to an earlier episode. And
Yeah,
I forget how long ago this was, but it came out that Lars Ulrichs' sons were posting videos of them playing music. And
that's right.
I don't remember at that time if we said they had a band or not, but just announced last week that his sons Miles and Lane, who are 23 and 20 respectively, they've formed a bass and a drum duo called Taipei Houston, and they
Hmm.
have two shows coming up in LA. I guess they're a hard rock band, so that could be interesting. Just bass and drums, like no guitars.
That is interesting.
I wonder if they're gonna play the bass from Injustice or something.
Speaking of which, didn't that just come out yesterday? Today? I can't remember.
Today, September 7th, 1988.
Nice.
Yeah,
Dude, I remember just like staring at that cassette, reading every liner note.
you're staring because there's a boob on the cover.
Well,
Don't be shy.
dude, so one thing that I want to talk about, and this is one that we've brought up a few times before,
Mhm.
and again, you are you're pretty tight with Doc Coyle, basically talking about Bad Wolves.
I would say pretty tight. He doesn't. We don't know each other, but I'm a huge fan.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. So he did post that they're gonna have a new album called Dear Monsters, and it'll be out October 29th. And the first single called Lifeline will be out tomorrow, Wednesday, September 8th, along with a new video. And today, Doc was posting photos of the band, and he's like pretty excited. We're back, and he says, and we have a lot to fucking prove. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
it's kind of like just taking the gloves off and being, holy dude, lightning is crazy here.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it was. Yeah, so I'm excited. Let's hear this. Let's see what it's like. And yeah, Bad Wolves has new stuff dropping October 29th.
You said it was called Deer Monsters. Is that like Deer Monsters, or is that like, oh my god, Deer Monsters?
It's like Dear Monsters.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yep, yep. Um,
They're speaking out too about their former singer too. They're kind of they came out with a post kind of defending or their stance against their former vocalist and things that he's saying. So that's out there if you want to go check it out. It's on Bad Wolves social media.
yeah, yeah. And actually, I will actually be singing. Tommy Vext is actually on the frontline stage at Orlando Metal Fest in Orlando this coming Saturday. So I'll be there. So it's in between. I'll see that probably, yeah, probably right before Il Nino and then Soulfly. And then I'm going
Cool.
to catch Sabaton and Judas Priest. 50 years of metal, bruh.
Nice.
Dude, it'll be so great. Although it does say thunderstorms, which will be crazy.
Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck. Um, Yeah, man. So the next one I wanted to kind of run through is just kind of the, being that it's Winger and Winger is kind of the butt of the joke. um, but it's just one of those things where it yet again is something where we have these bands that are canceling shows due to testing positive for COVID-19. So they did post that, unfortunately, while they all have been practicing CDC guidelines and locally recommended protocols for touring, members of the touring party have tested positive. So Winger had to cancel Minneapolis show as well as a couple others. So they said everyone has been vaccinated, so the experience really only mild symptoms, but they have been having to cancel shows. And we talked about this earlier where Bruce Dickinson canceled some spoken word tour shows because he tested positive. And he said, Bruce Dickinson went on to say, and he was quoted, that this is not just a flu, it makes your willy shrivel. Makes your willy shrivel.
Shrivelin' Willie, that's my new band name.
I was like, oh, trust me, I do not need COVID if it makes your willy shrivel.
I was in the COVID.
Yeah, right? George Costanza.
Yeah, COVID stanza.
Dude, so we talk, I can't remember if we've kind of talked a little bit about like the t-shirt business, right? This is kind of a big piece of, metal bands, and especially during pandemic, right? Selling merch and doing that stuff. And it was interesting because Jason, in a recent interview, basically talked about why Jason Newsted on Metallica wore Metallica t-shirts on stage during the time with the band. And if you go back and talk to like the guy, basically after the show would come up and tell Lars that basically like the shirt that Jason was wearing, that shirt would sell 40% more than any of the other shirts.
Yep.
Like, what? Are you crazy? And so it really was marketing. It was marketing. And what's interesting too, and now this actually was a Twitter conversation that happened today with like, I think it was it Dino from Fear Factory talking about
Kardashian.
What's that?
Talking about one of the Kardashians.
Well, he was talking about basically if you're in a metal band, you are marketing the band, and selling shirts is part of what you do, right? So
yeah, the Kardashian thing was, I saw an article, just him and then Khloe Kardashian, I think, side by side, and he was saying, I wish Khloe Kardashian would wear a band shirt or a shirt of my band or something.
Oh, got it. Yep. Oh, that's coming up. Yeah, the whole Cannibal Corpse deal. Yep. We have a story about that too.
All right, fill me in.
But yeah, it's, and now that brings up to a question, sometimes do you think it is in poor taste for someone to wear their own shirt on stage live?
I do not.
You have some like Yannick from Maiden. I mean, he wears an Iron Maiden shirt every time. Like every time he's wearing an Iron Maiden shirt. You had Jason Newsted, and it's just like some bands apparently just they don't do it. And I was like wondering, if I was in a band, would I wear my own shirt? And is that like truly a marketing tool? Does it show support for the band you're in? Is it self-serving? Are you like an egotistical piece of shit? I just wondering like where that falls, right? Like, is it cool to wear your own band's shirt?
Yeah. When I always thought of Newsted wearing it, it was because I remember seeing an interview way back of him saying that, he was a huge Metallica fan before he joined the band. So I thought he was still just kind of a fan, as like, you know what? Hey, I'm in Metallica. I'm going to wear this shirt. And that's kind of how I looked at it for him. But yeah, it's all, like you said, it's marketing. If you're up there wearing your own band shirt, people are going to see it and say, hey, cool. So
yep.
If it's good enough for him, I can do it. So yeah, I'm for it.
Yeah, me too. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
And kind of tied into it, I remember, or there's that whole thing of don't be that guy. Don't go to see Pantera wearing a Pantera shirt. I never understood that either.
Really?
I don't know where it started. The first time I ever heard of it was I was in high school, and then I was going to a Pantera show, and I walked into school wearing my Pantera shirt, and the buddy I was going with is like, "Dude, don't be that guy." Like, what are you talking?
Really?
Yeah, he's like, what are you talking about? Only assholes wear the shirt of the band they're going to see. And
Interesting.
it didn't make any sense to me. And I've seen it a lot of different places too. And I've seen a lot of people say how stupid it is. I've seen a lot of people say, don't do it. And
That's
I remember,
interesting.
and I remember it
Yeah, I
was
mean,
when,
I always wear, if I own it,
mhm.
I will always wear a shirt for the band that I'm going to see that night.
Not to mention you go there and you buy a shirt of that band.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I just think it's dumb. And I remember seeing it. Do you remember that comedy in the mid 90s, PCU?
Yes, I do. I remember that. Yeah.
It was in that movie too. Because I saw that, and after my friend had said, "Don't be that guy," and he must have seen it from that movie because it's like verbatim, dude,
That's
don't be
funny.
that
Dude,
guy.
we should totally put a poll. Put a poll on Facebook or something. I'm curious to see what the community says about that. Um, so we talked about this last time that Metallica went on Jimmy Kimmel.
Mhm.
They're actually gonna be on there again this week. The band went on to say that our friend Jimmy Kimmel has invited us back on September 10th to celebrate the reissue of the Black Album. It's been almost 5 years, and we're looking forward to chatting with him and performing. And we also have a few surprises too.
Nice.
So it airs 10:35 Central Time on ABC. Jimmy Kimmel Live. I thought I saw that there was like a contest too, where if you guessed what songs they were going to play, you could win a Metallica box set, Black Album box set. And I think that was, I don't know if that was through ABC or if that was through Metallica, through their website. I can't remember, but I saw it on social. But yeah, so interesting that they're back in the prime time.
Which tells me they're going to play something rare that they don't play often. I would think if they're going to make you try to guess.
I mean, what B-sides or what other singles came out during those sessions?
On the Japanese import is So What at the end of it.
Okay, they
I
can't play that live.
Yeah, I don't know. It's got to be something from the Black Album now. My Friend of Misery or something.
What cassette was Breadfan on? Because I first heard Breadfan on the B-side of the cassette single for Eye of the Beholder, I think.
Okay.
So Breadfan, maybe that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they'd make it Black Album related.
But so yeah, we'll see, man. It'll be cool. So check it out on Jimmy Kimmel. Metallica's also set to perform with Miley Cyrus on the Howard Stern show, and I know they did that last time too. Mm-hmm. I could not find when a specific date. So if anyone knows, let us know in the chat or let us know on our socials. The exact date and time of the performance has not yet been announced, but they are going to play. We assume they're going to team up with Miley Cyrus on Howard Stern to play the classic "Nothing Else Matters" in celebration of the re-release. So it's interesting that we'll see that. We know what happened when they tried to pair up with a pop star last time, and frickin' James's mic is unplugged.
Maybe they'll go the opposite way and sing a Hannah Montana theme song or something.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Dude, so you actually mentioned this earlier. So there's been a widely circulated photo going on where Kourtney Kardashian been seen eating a Eaten Back to Life era long sleeve tee from the death metal veterans Cannibal Corpse. It has been confirmed that her stylist Danny Mitchell basically has confirmed in Vogue magazine that Kourtney was simply borrowing the shirt from her boyfriend, and so it is interesting. Barnes, the previous singer for Cannibal Corpse, actually shared the article and basically simply had one word in the caption that said "posers." Here's the thing. I've had girlfriends that have borrowed my shirts before.
Mhm.
So I kind of understand where that comes from. I mean, they go through my closet. Like I remember one of my girlfriends once went through my closet and like grabbed my Testament, the New Order T-shirt. And I will say, one, nothing sexier than my girlfriend wearing a metal shirt. But also, she wasn't a fan, right? You know what I mean? Like, so I can see how media can kind of get blown up with it, but hey, it gets Cannibal Corpse in the news. So, like Dino said, it'd be great if they were wearing a Fear Factory shirt.
Yep, and Gary Holt wears that Kill the Kardashians shirt, but I don't think he's ever actually killed one, so he's kind of a poser.
Right?
I have no issue with whatever the hell people want to wear.
Sworn Enemy, Mudcat. Sworn Enemy is going to be playing at Orlando. I'm going to see them this Saturday.
Nice.
Small world, bro. Awesome. Let's go ahead and jump into new releases. Jim, what have you been reading lately?
I'm going to go back once. I just remembered you're talking about Cannibal Corpse, Chris Barnes and stuff. So former guests of ours, Natanic and Rob Carlson, are good friends, but always giving each other shit.
All the time.
All the time.
It's hilarious.
And if you are Natanic did some band promotion, or he promoted shows as part of his job, and he says the only person that's ever really been an honest to God dick to him is Chris Barnes.
Oh, really?
Yep. So he just hates him. So when I think it went, so they just reignited this one the other day, and I think it went, I think Rob's wife got a cameo from Chris Barnes from his wife. Yeah, his wife gave him a cameo to Rob, and Rob's like, "Hey, that's awesome. I love 6 Feet Under and all that." And so as a joke, knowing how much Natanic hates Chris Barnes, he got a cameo of Chris Barnes for Natanic, saying like, "Hey, I heard you're a big fan," and all this shit. I think that's how it goes, or something like that, but just hilarious.
That is brilliant. That is great.
Yeah. Yes, new releases. Not a music release here, but we can't stop talking about Metallica. So they released a book. Well, they didn't. There's a new Metallica book written by Ben Apatow, and it's playing on the Garage Days Revisited, the 598 EP. So the title of the book is the $24.95 book. $24.95 book, which
that's pretty awesome.
I got for 17, so I don't know. Must be fiction. But
that's cool. I really hope that an audio version does come out. I have this in my wish list, and I'll just wait a little bit longer. If an audiobook comes out, I'm super ADHD, bro. Like it's so hard for me to read a physical book. I like get distracted and shit, and I got to go back and read it over again. And
yep.
Yeah, I'm a nightmare.
Yeah, but I just started it yesterday, and I've read so many books about Metallica, and there's so many that I have not read that I'm wondering what's going to stand out with this thing, what's going to make it different than stuff we've already read. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned last time that the official Metallica podcast is really good, and so I listened to those over the weekend, and dude, it's awesome, and it's awesome hearing. It's not the typical bullshit. Like they go in deep on like recording and mixing and the feelings that they were doing, and like even the last episode where they're talking about where James would layer vocals and stuff and give it a different sound, and it was it was really cool. So, and they pull in all these other people too. They'll have Bob Rock, they'll have other people talking, and it was really good. So if they can keep that level of detail and not the same old bullshit throughout the rest of the series as they keep going, that'd be freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea how long they're going to do it or how many episodes, but there's 3 released now, I think.
Yep. I would say keep it going forever to infinity and beyond.
I would agree with that.
Dude, Jess is in the chat room. Hey, yo.
At Dave 2. What's
nice.
Yeah. So what do you got? You got a release here that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, man. So brand new release from a band called Blood War, and that's Bloodwar. They
Hmm.
have a brand new official audio video for the title track called Severed, and this is from an upcoming album called Inner Demon. And again, fellow local artists. So we got to give a shout out to a local St. Paul band. Brought to us by Twin Town Tyrant Records, which is
Yeah.
badass. We'll have the link in the show notes. This is their third full length album, and it's gonna, like I said, mentioned, it'll be out October 22nd. And that same day, they're also gonna have a CD release show. That release party is going to be at Eagles 34 here locally in the Twin Cities. So welcome you guys to check it out and go check out this newest single called Severed. It's freaking awesome. It's kind of like I guess, well, I wouldn't say black and thrash. I mean, it's thrashy. Like the music's definitely thrashy, kind of more like death metal vocals.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's awesome. So go check it out.
They're awesome live too. I saw them with Hex Vortices opening for Warbringer Enforcer.
Nice.
Yes.
That's
I like that.
awesome.
I like them.
I like it a lot, dude. And there was another band called Weaponized. Don't know anything about them. I just because I follow. I think this was from one of our other thrash groups on Facebook,
Mhm.
but I did listen to the track "Food for Thought," and it's thrashy. What I like about it too is it's a super old school sound, even like in the production. So this was a band again formed in 2018, relatively new, and this is their first full length album. The band is from LA. They had a demo that was released in 2019, and the band's named is Weaponized, and this track is called Food for Thought. And when you listen to it, it's like it was recorded and produced in 1989, right? Like that sound. So it's pretty cool. Go check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I saw them mentioned, but I haven't checked them out yet. Concert calendar. Speaking of Hex Vortices, they have a show this Saturday, September 11th at Lefty's Live Music in Des Moines. And special guests, I don't know how to pronounce this, Isilik, Ysilik, Isilik,
Yeah, I
and
don't know.
Anger Incarnate. So if you're in the Des Moines area, check that out.
Dude, don't you think it would be like exhausting if you were anger incarnate? I mean, you'd be mad all the time. I don't know.
I've been there. But,
Dude, do you got any trivia for us this week?
yeah, I thought you were going somewhere else with like, I thought you were gonna say if you're always Anger Incarnate, I thought you were gonna go like the Yasilic way.
Oh,
Say like always having to explain your band name. I
right?
remember it was years ago. I saw Trivium, and up in the Twin Cities, and the local band was Kuhn Anwin,
Okay.
but it's spelled like CWNANWN or something. And he was up. Matt Heafy was on stage saying like, "Man, why would you name your band that?"
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So trivia. The author of Ben Apatow, the author of the Metallica book we are just talking about. So in the acknowledgments at the very beginning, you laughing at the animal on my face?
Yes, I am.
Thanks, Jess. But it's tame. It's tame. It's a marsupial. So where was I? No. So the author of the Metallica book, when he gives his acknowledgments at the beginning of the book, he quotes the Master of Puppets liner notes.
Nice.
It says roaring hella mega style and cheers donkey talk merci skull ta right on bro dudes fucking A rights baby man thanks to. So that's right from Metallica, and he goes on to say that hella, this is one of the very first times that hella was used. So in 2002 it was added to the Oxford Dictionary, but so he says Some of you recognize this quote from the Master of Puppets liner notes, but did you know it's also one of the first documented uses of the adverb hella, 16 years before it made its way to the Oxford English Dictionary? Metallica, ever the trailblazers. So
Nice.
I did do some Googling, and can be traced back to the late 70s of Northern California. So obviously San Francisco's in there. And so yeah, it's just kind of interesting. It's all over the place now. And so just Metallica used it way back when, and it's interesting. So no question, just a little tidbit of knowledge for you to file away and never use.
Dude, I love it. That's awesome.
It was also used, Machine Head used it for their live in London, Manchester.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the
Ella Live.
and that's also the show my daughter just went to. Isn't that the Hella Mega Tour or whatever with Weezer and Green Day?
Could be. I just saw a dude wearing that shirt today. That's weird.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna jump back in the day. Oh, just really quick, I forgot to mention concert calendars. Just announced too is Hailstorm on Evanescence, which, in all honesty, it'd be kind of cool. I mean, again, I got to start to spread out my concert funds. I can't buy tickets to everything.
Yep. You can if you keep stealing streaming services.
That's right. Getting Hulu for $1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we jump back in the day, we're gonna go back to 1984, and this was kind of crazy how this all played out, and I don't really know exactly the relationship here, but how this all started was there was a band that was in one of our Facebook groups that said one of the releases from France, this band called Thrash Back. And I was like, cool, let's check this out. And then I was looking up the band, and it was like, well, this one band, Thrash Back, had this guy, Tony Pitaro, in the band as vocals and guitar. And I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that the guy? So then I started doing, again, further research, realizing that was the guy that was in Whiplash. This was the thrash band back from 1984. I really got into them with their release called Insult to Injury that came out in 1989. Whiplash went on to have 7 studio albums, and they were on tons of different compilations. They were super good. I remember having that cassette and just like wearing out the cassette in my Walkman, right? But what's crazy is that Whiplash had an album in 1998. They named it Thrash Back. And then the band Thrash Back was formed with the same guy. But like Whiplash is from New Jersey and Thrash Back is from France. And so I don't really know how the relationship happens because they both have the same guy in it. I don't know. But yeah, so they Thrash Back goes on to have 3 different albums. The last one was in 2018. And yeah, so it was kind of crazy how this kind of bridged a couple different bands across the last 20 some years. But yeah, so I'll go ahead and throw a track in there from Insult to Injury off of that CD from the band Whiplash, which is freaking awesome. Like, I don't know, Jim, have you ever heard of Whiplash?
Yes, I forget where, but I read an article. I think it's probably around the time when the Big Four was doing their shows in 2011 or whatever it was. And so there's just tons of stuff out there about the Big Four and thrash and all that. And I read an article that's saying people were saying that Whiplash should have been the 4th in the Big Four, or maybe it was people speculating about the next Big Four. So like Testament, Exodus, Overkill,
sure,
whoever else. And I think they're saying in that group of 4, Whiplash belonged. So I heard that and like, well, I got to check them out. And yeah, I didn't listen to them a lot, but definitely thrashy.
Yeah, I wore that cassette out. So good stuff. We'll throw that in the show notes for sure.
Looks like our man Doug is a Whiplash fan too.
Nice. All right. So today in the day, what do we got, Jim?
A band called Killing from Denmark. There's a lot of good shit in Denmark.
Right?
Yeah. So they say that they're thrash attack kind of, I don't know if I want to say throwback, but kind of in the style of the 80s thrash uprising. So fans of Slayer, Exodus, Creator, Metallica, 80s Metallica, Killing, Denmark. I think we listened to a track a few weeks ago, not on the show, but I think I sent you one, and it's awesome. So good. And their debut album, Face the Madness, was just released August 13th. So pretty fresh. And I listened to a little bit today, and it's like all these bands, all these new thrash bands are just killing it. There's so many out there. It's great.
There's definitely a resurgence, man.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of wonder, is it
time.
just the cyclical music industry the way it is, and as, you have fans and musicians that age and then new musicians are born and they kind of go on. And so is it that cyclical thing, or was it something like the pandemic and being locked up? Did that kickstart this new wave of thrash,
I don't know. I think the term new wave of thrash, I think, has been around for quite a while, because in the mid 2000s, a lot of bands started coming out, like your Warbringers, Havocs, and stuff like that. So that term, and a lot of bands have come out since then. But there could be something to the pandemic stuff. Everybody's sitting at home writing if they can't go out and perform. So cool. Could be something to that too.
Dude, I was watching totally unrelated, but I thought about, like, again, sitting through the pandemic. I was watching a local interview with Bruce Dickinson with the release of Senjutsu.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing an interview with 93X Radio with Pablo here locally. And Bruce said that they thought about recording another album during the pandemic because that album was already done. Like, it would have been crazy to have like a whole nother one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, all right. So we got a couple follow-ups before we wrap it up today. What do we got, man?
Yeah, I was thinking, just while we were talking tonight and about Jason Newsted and stuff, and I don't know if it was on the podcast or one of the interviews, I was just watching him, but he talking about his role for Metallica, like what, obviously he was the bassist, but he was kind of also set up to be like the live guy. Like he was the guy, I think Hetfield might have said it, he's our live energy guy. If you want to get pumped up, watch Jason. Says, and then I heard Jason say too that, yeah, that's what I am. I'm up there. I'm, he's probably the most physical up there, and just his energy is just amazing. So just a thought I had that was really cool.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And then another follow-up, not really a follow-up, just a cool story. So last Friday I had a few minutes, so I stopped by the local record store, and I was there just after 10 o'clock, and they're supposed to open at 10. And I walk up and they're not open. So I'm just standing there, I turn around, and then this guy comes walking up and he says, "Hey, what are you looking for?" I said, "Nothing in particular. I'm just here to spare a few minutes and look around, see what they got. How about you?" And he says, "Well, I'm looking for the new Maiden." And he's got like a football or soccer jersey on. It's like an Iron Maiden soccer jersey.
Cool.
And it was really cool. We just started talking for, I don't know, I wasn't waiting for someone to show up to unlock the store, but while we were standing there, the owner came and opened it up, and we were just still standing there talking, and then went inside and talked for another 10 minutes, just looking at shit. And just another cool story about this metal community. So his name is Emil. I told him about the podcast, so hopefully if he's watching or listening, welcome. And it's cool meeting you. Hope to see you again. And this
awesome. That's so cool, man. Yeah, I
metal family.
That's right. Speaking of Jersey and Maiden, it was crazy. I saw on social today that in Brazil there is like a pro line of athletic store, right, where you would go and get your your boots and your jerseys and stuff, but they are also an official licensed Iron Maiden merchandise, like just reseller, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they had all of the Iron Maiden jerseys and stuff. It was super badass. Like, oh my God, if I was down in Brazil, it would have been so fucking Well, I'd spend thousands of dollars on Iron Maiden jerseys, but
Nice. That's all I got.
cool, man. Yeah, we'll go ahead and kind of start to wrap up here. I want to thank everyone for listening. Again, we really appreciate it. We wouldn't be anywhere without you guys. I want to encourage everyone to please go leave a review. Again, it's totally free to do that on the Apple Podcast app. So if you can do that, it'd be awesome. It costs nothing to set up an Apple ID if you don't have one. So leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Again, the more reviews we get, the higher we get in the ranks. So we really would love it and appreciate it. We want to hear from you too. If you got any thoughts, questions, concerns, tips, tricks, music, something, anything, whatever, let us know. thethrashreport@gmail.com. You can also find all of our socials at thrashreport.com.
Yep, we got a very active chat tonight too. That was really cool.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Super awesome.
So I will leave you with be dangerous and unpredictable and make a lot of noise.
Yes, that's awesome, bro. Thanks, everyone. We will see you next time on